I love the moment that I hit record. The first thing that comes to mind is Francesca and that whole scene. It's like, what the hell was that? It's nice and pure. Do you want to see the inside of these gaping teeth? I'm like, wow, that went downhill real quick. And like, I don't really see Francesca like flirting with Orlando. She seems like a trickster. She seems like a troublemaker. But it's like, what are we doing here? Why is she suddenly like being all flirty with him on the desk, and then suddenly she's gaping teeth? Like, yeah, okay, there. I see that coming. I seen that coming. It should have come in. It made me question, what the hell is she though? That's the question mark that I have now. Is she like some sort of beast, a demi-human? What? I don't know if she's from another franchise. I know they made a lot of references of other series from this one, but I don't know I don't know if she's actually been in something else. I'll have to wait and see. But for now, she's crazy. I'm curious about what the hell she is. I've been kind of curious about her from the beginning, though. Like, from the PVs, I'm like, okay, she looks mischievous. She looks crazy. I love her design and everything. So I'm kind of interested in her. Then we kind of find out that she's obsessed with Arthur somehow. So I'm curious if that, again, is a connection that she has there. But we'll wait and see. For now, she's crazy. For now, she's crazy. And she just wants to see masters and servants fight. I love that she's all mad, like Jester and this other guy started fighting. I want to see some masters and servants fight. And then suddenly the second big war starts, the second beginning of it. And suddenly she's super happy and the freaking glass is blowing up and there's arrows flying behind her. And she's just dancing around all crazy. She's a hit. She's actually a kick, though. But anyways, episode 4 of Fate Strange Fate. We made it to 4. We're at episode 4. We haven't delayed to another year yet. We're still going. It's still holding strong. I'm super happy about that. But really solid episode. We essentially had a fight between 3 archers, question mark? I don't know. I don't know at this point. We've confirmed that Gilgamesh is in fact an archer. That's no doubt there. He's the archer of the fake summoning at this point. Tina even confirmed it in this episode. She said something to the effect of, but you're the archer or whatever. The question mark is Alcides the archer? Is that the one going to be for the second summoning? That's the question mark that I have there, because, yes, Francesca said that this individual normally is summoned as an archer, but they're full of vengeance, so they're going to be the Avenger class. They could be known as an Avenger. I don't know if that's specifying that his class is going to be Avenger, and then somebody else can take the archer one, or if the slot for archer just gets replaced with an Avenger and that's it. We don't know. But it just seemed like we had literally 3 individuals that were all shooting things in one room, fighting each other. And so that could lead to that Hippolyta is going to be the other archer. Though she at some point did throw something that looked like a lance, so she could be Lancer. But either way, crazy little introduction there. And again, sort of what they went into what I kind of assumed was going to be the case with Alcides, is when we first seen him last episode, he kind of looked like Hercules. I kind of thought that potentially he's going to be Hercules, but turns out he is Hercules, but he's, again, this other version of him that is an Avenger, one that is seeking to destroy the gods, a corrupted, angry version of him. Another angry version. Like, we don't already have a Hercules that's angry. Every time Hercules comes in here, he's angry. He's always angry. He's either a berserker over here or he's angry Avenger over here. But interesting little induction there. Hippolyta, I'm not too familiar with. I do know that she does have ties to Hercules specifically. I think that he actually killed, well, he said in this episode, he killed me. I think they had some sort of relationship or something in the lore behind them. But as usual, I don't try to look too much into the lore of the characters, except for a very surface level, just because they always end up being extremely skewed. I mean, look at the original Saber back from Fate Stay Night and whatnot. That's definitely not Arthur Pendragon. They got some crazy lore about how they were birthed and how they have a child. There's some crazy lore behind that stuff. It's skewed. It's extremely skewed, but still interesting to see him come in here. But yeah, let's get in the episode proper so I don't miss anything. But we did have a whole scene starting out the episode with Castor talking about specifically Fallius. Now, it says that Fallius, his family, is a family of people that have specialized in puppetry. And that would make sense because he literally goes in a room full of puppets and does a summoning. When he leaves the room, it implies that he may have summoned an assassin. And I only say that because we have the iconic, Hassan mask that has on, and he's hiding in his shadow. So I'm assuming he's going to be an assassin. Which, if going to be one of the Hassans, I don't know. We'll see. But that's all we know for that for now. But anyways, Castor goes on to talk about the Dolian family and the fact that apparently they were involved with the Fiuki Grail War, question mark. I don't recall a deal in that whole thing. I might just be misremembering. We'll probably see as it goes along. It might not even matter that much, but it sort of implies that the family at that point got involved with the government over here, and they orchestrated this whole Grail War. They did apparently bring a fragment of the Grail, which turned out to be fake, in order to use over here, but apparently, because it's, fake, the connection to the ley lines was weak. And again, it goes into the idea of, or at least implies the idea of, essentially summoning these servants first, the fake servants first, and then using them to sort of set up for the 7 that would come afterward. So, very interesting little kind of primer to actually start a Grail War. But again, sort of a lot of the stuff that we kind of assumed at this point was playing out. It's more kind of confirms at this point. Kind of sucks that, they do also imply in this whole segment here that they specifically came here and took over this land from the people that were there before, the Guardians that were there before, took their territory for the sake of setting up for this, which does imply to me that they built this entire city and everything potentially for this whole situation here, which, yes, for somebody like Orlando that we get into when we talk about, Francesca and Orlando talking, doesn't really bode well. And it sucks. I think Orlando's character is kind of turning out to be a very fascinating character in this entire series because they've already set up the idea that this guy is involved in the background with this whole setup for this Grail War, but it seems like he's the only individual that, really does care for the people there. He's first and foremost a police officer, and he wants to protect them. So while, yes, he is getting involved here, and Francesca's saying, yeah, you should expect that people are going to die, we're going to have a Grail War. Not just a Grail War, but a fake and a real one that's going to have, at least 13 servants blasting at each other. There's going to be death. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? But yeah, it does get into the conversation that we have between Orlando and Francesca, mainly around the idea of him being upset about the chaos that's been caused already, trying to keep things under wrap. Later on, wanting to send some individuals to stop this, battle that's happening in the middle of the city. Her kind of mentioned the fact that I'm already sending somebody, which apparently implies that whoever made this illusion is potentially the, servant of Francesca. I mean, she has the mark and everything like that, so she's got a servant. But during the conversation, they do bring up the biggest rule of the Fate series, which is that you do not reveal the true name of a servant. This is one of those things that's like a golden rule in the series because, again, it reveals their weakness. If you know the servant, you know what killed them, you know how to kill them, you know about their noble phantasm, whatever it is. But yeah, it's also kind of a rule for the fandom as well. Every time I cover the series, it's something that I'm always dreading and talking about because I'm always afraid of, was the true name already revealed when I talk about this episode? Or did I see the name over here? Did I see it on my anime list or something like that? And it's not actually revealed at this point. I mean, I've done it already with Gilgamesh. I don't think they've technically said Gilgamesh's name up until this point. They did say Gil in this episode, but I don't think they've actually said Gilgamesh. Even Enkidu, I think, only just refers to Gilgamesh as their friend. I don't think they actually say it. And everybody else says Majesty or King. The Golden King or whatever. I don't think anybody's actually said Gilgamesh. So even me, I'm actually already revealing that, but it's sort of unfortunately, who doesn't know who Gilgamesh is at this point? I mean, there was a chance that it might not be Gilgamesh. It could be somebody else that is looking like Gilgamesh. That's always a possibility there as well. But yeah, every single time you talk about these characters, it's always a fear there about exactly if they've revealed their name or not. But anyways, the conversation was mostly about protecting the people. Also, the fact that they are going to go along with this plan. And additionally, yes, after this whole attack happens, who is this individual that fired upon the city, or actually Gilgamesh? Which she reveals, yes, the Holy Grail War, you can't really summon gods, but there's a catch. You can summon a half-god, and yes, I think that moment, it kind of clicked for me. Yeah, I'm already seeing that this guy looks kind of like Hercules, and now that she's saying you can summon a half-god, it's probably going to be Hercules. And yeah, she mentioned the fact that this individual is filled with some sort of vengeance, and thus it's technically an Avenger. You can call him Avenger. But yeah, that's when we had the little battle between, again, Gilgamesh, Alcides, and Hippolyta. I think I'm saying that right. Hippolyta. I'm probably going to say that name wrong. I like how immediately when they attack Gilgamesh, he just get on the back of the ship. But wait, I can't do that. I can't have you just stay here and get attacked. You're coming with me. It flies over there and immediately starts just attacking Alcides, and Alcides like, my gosh, you're weak. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, he's just throwing shade at Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh is looking down on him, and he's just blasting at him. One thing that was interesting here, though, is that Alcides immediately shoots at Tine, and Gilgamesh says, yeah, Normally, if I wanted to, seek victory, I'd probably do the same thing. I go around to every single one of these servants and I just shoot their master. He's really good at that. I mean, he opens these portals to his vast, treasury, and he's able to attack people whenever he wants. Yeah, I could probably do that. So he's like, yeah, you could technically do that. That is a tactic you can use. If you were me. Only I could do that, not somebody like you. Starts just barrage attacking him, and the guy's like weak. But yeah, we did eventually find out that there was a reason why Alcides is not taking any damage, even when Hippolyta shows up later on, not taking any damage. And it's apparently because like his entire armor is made of some sort of like, divine or bestial hides or something like that. But yeah, the overall fight was really awesome. I think it's just chaotic. I actually just like this idea that Gilgamesh comes here because he's ticked off that this lowly person attacked him and then attacked his master. And he's like, you're below me, how dare you? He starts attacking him. This guy's like, man, you're weak, whatever. And then suddenly Hippolyta shows up and she badly wants revenge on Alcides, hates the fact that Alcides attacked a child, but Alcides is busy fighting Gilgamesh and trying to prove something to him. And Gilgamesh is like, stop getting into my prey. That's my prey. You woman, you scoundrel, get out of here. I didn't approve of you getting involved with this fight. So it's like this constant back and forth with all these, and they're just fighting each other. They're just all fighting each other, just jumping around, flipping around, and everything. I think most of like all the animation went to Hippolyta though. She was looking absolutely fantastic. Just summon up the horse, jumping on the horse, running everywhere, jumping up in the air, doing flips. A certain shot, a certain shot with her legs, her going crazy. Again, eventually at some point, it looks like she grabs a lance and chucks it at Gilgamesh, which again would possibly imply that she's not going to be another archer. She's probably going to be a lancer, and that would give still the archer title to Alcides. Some things that were revealed during the fight is that, this individual Alcides has this noble phantasm that Gilgamesh says the aura is different from the gods that he knows, but the essence is the same. And again, that does make sense in the fact that we know that later on that he is this skewed version of Hercules. Again, his armor is made of hides of a demonic or divine beast. Hippolyta, again, based on the fact that she's Hippolyta and that is Hercules, knows him. At some point, she was killed by him. I think in the lore, they had some sort of relationship there, and that, at some point, she was killed by him. As much as I do like the whole idea of these servants being summoned from, these heroic spirits, these beings of the past and folklore, whatever, I don't look into it too much just because typically with a lot of the Fate series and Type Moon, they're always like extremely skewed versions of the original. I mean, look into King Arthur's story. Saber from the Fate series is definitely not Arthur Pendragon. I mean, the setting, everything's the same, and the people around them, but like how they have a child and all that kind of stuff, it gets weird. They're always skewed in some way. Yeah, Hippolyta's here because this Alcides is a completely skewed version of who they know, saying that they would never strike at a child, even though, as Alcides is saying, this child's involved with this war, so I have to take them down. But she's not having any of it. A lot of Hippolyta's whole thing here really does stem from the idea of seeing this person that she loved or, respected doing something that is not them, like sort of tarnishing their name. But yeah, in response to Hippolyta's words, Alcides doesn't want to be called Hercules because that individual is dead at this point, was never a hero to begin with, and his current self is just a man that is seeking vengeance upon the gods. Which I guess, in the end, probably means that whatever their wish is probably going to involve the gods. But anyways, as they kind of build up to their point where they're all going to unleash their noble phantasms, suddenly Francesca decides to have their servant get involved, which turns out to be some illusionist. Some servant shows up, transports them to a very frozen area, says, hey, you guys shouldn't be using your trump cards immediately. Then goes over and starts to mess with Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh says, you can't, deceive me like that. And they say, can I deceive your ears, Gil? Question mark. They turn themselves into Enkidu and whisper in his ear, saying Gil. I'm wondering if that means that this individual knows the true name of everybody, or is it just the fact that everybody knows who Gilgamesh is? Again, technically, the moment that Gilgamesh was summoned, they're already like, we got to handle him. We got to get rid of him specifically. They can't leave him, running around. I think he's such a known entity that I don't think really anybody's going to have a problem recognizing him. I mean, besides Flat. Besides Flat, because he had to ask his master. But yeah, that kind of wrapped it up, and Alcides, in parting words with Gilgamesh, says that he is a leader that he can't measure up to, but as a warrior, he's nothing. So he's going to take him out. Hippolyta, parts ways as well, giving her name as well. And Gilgamesh says that he's not going to give up his name. He's not going to give up his name. But yeah, other than that, we had a little scene with Saber and Ayaka where we reveal his true name, which is Richard. But yeah, he's super happy about the music of this world now. Mentions the idea that she should get some sleep because they don't have anybody there, and goes to reveal his name. And of course, she doesn't want to hear it because she doesn't want to be a part of it, but apparently he feels that she is worthy to be his master, and so he reveals it. But yeah, he turns out to be Richard. Duke of Normandy and King of England, or otherwise known as Lionheart. And he also reveals the individual that he's been talking to, which completely shattered my crazy theory. And that sucks, but whatever. I mean, I wasn't 100% sold on it. It kind of seemed cheesy, but I also do know they try to take any chance they can to involve King Arthur, Pendragon, Saber, just because merchandise. She sells like crazy, I'm sorry. I mean, I have a ton of her figures over here. She sells like crazy. But no, it doesn't end up being Arthur. It ends up being Pierre Basel, the one that shot him. The one that shot King Richard. Yeah, the man who killed him. If I remember correctly, he didn't kill him, but he wounded him, and later he died because of it. Like a disease or whatever. So it not only kills my theory about, Arthur being inside of Richard and him talking to Arthur, but it also potentially kills my theory around the idea of two sabers being within Richard. Because Richard mentions the fact that he has two noble phantasms, two aces up his sleeve. One is the power to have souls I choose accompany me with their agreement. So again, this wasn't a concoction. He's not a concoction of, two sabers being summoned into one individual. For those that missed it, my theory was essentially they had the fake summoning Grail War happen, and they stopped the Saber from summoning, but, and my theory at that time was, Arthur her spirit still came in. And then once the second set of servants was summoned, she went into the Saber that was summoned at that point, which was Richard. And so it was essentially two sabers in one. It does seem like Richard is one single summon, but his noble phantasm has the ability to summon anybody into him if they agree to it. And apparently, he has summoned Pierre, and Pierre can use his noble phantasm, I guess. He says that it's hard to materialize them right now, which implies that later on he potentially could materialize another servant with him, but they can assist in techniques and magecraft. And again, he says he has two noble phantasms, so I'm assuming the second noble phantasm is from the individual that he summons. Question mark. If that's the case, that's crazy. If that's the case, that is crazy. That means that literally on the battlefield, if he gets enough power, if he gets enough potential, he can essentially have like constantly him summoning in servants that, if they agree, that will, use noble phantasms. Question mark. Now, I'm pretty sure the noble phantasm still draws from the master? Question mark. I'm not 100% sure there. And again, different rules here because this is Fate Strange Fate. That kind of does make me wonder if they will play more into what Ayaka is and her connection to the Einsburns. Because if she is, like my theory is to state, a proxy, a middleman to the true master of Richard, that makes me wonder if they're able to make that link there. Could they essentially have this massive battery for Richard to work off of? And then again, summon some crazy amounts of noble phantasms. I mean, again, we're already breaking rules with the assassin and jester, and the idea that she was using noble phantasms like crazy because he had so much power. No doubt here we could do something crazy with linking masters and drawing in multiple amounts of energy through them. We'll see though. Cool little reveal there though. Not to my crazy theory, but still crazy in its own right, especially the fact that he's able to, again, essentially summon other servants. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 4 of Fate Strange Fake. A little bit more scattershot than usual, but hopefully I got all my points across. As usual, if you are a fan of the source material, please don't answer any speculation that I have from this video. I really do appreciate it. Not just for my sake, but for anybody else that checks the comment section. But I appreciate you guys' support. Hope you guys enjoy this video as always. If you did, hit the like button down below. If you like this content, become a member. Until next time, I'll take care.